Pokemon Red and Blue launched in the United States this very same year, September 28th, 1998. Let me blow your mind right now.
96.
The Pokemon, it's 1998.
Yeah.
The Pokemon trading card game launched in December 1998, so that's 2 months later. The anime, Pokemon I Choose You, the first episode, aired September 8th, 1998. So Nintendo had a game that came out in 1996 in Japan and balled up this big package around it. That was a show, a card game, and a game release, and it worked. Oh my gosh, Pokemon was pretty quickly everywhere.
Yeah, and it was not, as you said, this was a blitz. They engineered this success. They announced it. I was at an event called Nintendo Space World, which was Nintendo's E3. They used to have this every year in Japan, in Tokyo. And, you know, I forget if it was, I think it was Yamauchi even, someone went on stage and said, we are going to bring this Pokemon game to America.
Pocket monsters.
Pocket monsters. People don't think this kind of game will be a success in Japan, in the US, but we will make it a success. Trust us. And then, you know, a year later, it is a humongous success.
It's an engineered success, but it's an earned success, right? I mean, that sense of collecting all the Pokemon, but it's not just collecting for collection's sake. Like, you know, sort of building the perfect team, and you know, once you get a new Pokemon, you can add them to your team, and that's going to let you defeat.
You want to be the very
leader.
best, like no one ever was.
Yeah.
But no, that's a good point. You not only use your Pokemon to kind of progress in the game and unlock new areas and get better at fighting enemies, but you can fight your friends with them and you can trade your friends with them.
It's really smart. It's smart that like each Pokemon you get isn't just ticking off a box in your Pokedex, that they actually can mean something to you. And,
some were so hard to get. I mean, the 151st Pokemon, there were only 151 Pokemon one day. Back then, remember that?
It fueled such like a playground conversations of like rumors.
How did you get Porygon?
Some were true and some weren't true.
And Mew was the big untrue one, or the big true one. You could only get Mew through an official Nintendo distribution, but people did figure out how to glitch.
And then they figured out Missing No and all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, what was so special about that game is how personal the experience felt to you, right? Because you really team of Pokemon was the same, and like then you kind of like you were either the water guy or the fire type guy. It was just really cool to see the differences between players.
Well, and you could take your Pokemon, the actual ones that you'd raised and collected with you from game to game. And I think there was a break. I think you could take them from the Game Boy games all the way through the GBA. But I think there's a break there in the DS ones. I don't think there's a way to carry them over anymore.
By the way, really interesting that when the game came out in Japan, it was Pokemon Blue and Green, right? They didn't actually bring out Green until way later with, now there's the Leaf Green.
And your three starters, we should say, are Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle. So because of that, that's where you get the red, blue, and green. But then Pikachu became so popular, you had to make a yellow to start with Pikachu.
Yeah, no, I thought it was interesting because you can tell, like, the game is a success because it's so good, but the marketing played such a big role. Just picking different colors for the US launch, right? Like how carefully everything was engineered is just
the two versions
so much thinking.
So interesting and forcing people to trade. I mean, the cynical part of me sort of says, yeah, they're trying to sell more Pokemon, but it is interesting that they really wanted to emphasize that trading aspect and that social aspect of it.
Imagine if that game had been made during the era of microtransactions,
right? Oh my goodness gracious.
You know?
We gave it a
How much for that
10
Pikachu?
out of 10.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
No surprise there. Although there was a slightly different rating scale for mobile games at the time.
Our handheld channel, which we had just spun up, had a 10-point scale. So, there are a lot of 9s and 10s.
Yeah, Guinness Book of World Records says this is the best-selling RPG of all time.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of copies across a lot of consoles.